If you or a loved one clicked on this video today, you might be entitled to cringe compensation. Welcome back. I started doing this a month ago, just kind of chatting, talking about stuff. It's the end of the year. Happy end of 2024. I hope that everybody had wonderful Christmases and festivities. The end of the year for a music fan. If you're down with music like me, you usually at the end of the year reflect on all the albums that came out, the hits, the misses, the ones that stuck out the most to you. Today, I'm gonna do my top 10 best albums of 2024. So get comfy, because this one's gonna be a doozy. We're gonna be talking about the best albums, some EPs that came out. So yeah, just grab yourself a snack and a beverage, and let's hang out. Let's talk about some good ass music that came out in 2024. I'm going to start off by talking about my honorable mentions. Now, don't let that fool you. People tend to pretend that honorable mentions means last, not good. But this is going to be a positive video. I'm not going to do a top 10 worst list. There's plenty of that out there. I watch it, but I'm not going to make a video like that, because I'm going to only, like I said in my first video, I'm going to stick to talking about the things that I love and that I am passionate about. I'm not going to put any negative energy into this. This is solely for fun, and hopefully today I can recommend you guys some top tier music that you should definitely be listening to. All right, real quick, here are my honorable mentions of 2024. These are all bands that deserve love and success and support, because they're great people and they're great bands and they make kick-ass music. Like Moss the Flames put out a banger of an album this year called The Cycles of Trying to Cope. Great album. It's very heavy. It's very reminiscent of their early stuff. Make Them Suffer is another band that's been around like forever. They put out their self-titled album this year, and they have a new member, Alex. She's been in the band for a couple years now, but this is the first album fully showcasing her role in the band. She does backup singing and screaming, and she does like synth guitar stuff. It's really good. Throne. I don't know where this band is from. I think they're from Australia or something. Let me know. Throne. They got shoved down my throat in 2022 and 3 on Spotify, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't get enough. I can't get rid of them. But they put out a new album this year called Excessive Guilt. It's only 20 minutes. It slaps. It's full of nu metal grooves and slam breakdowns. It's very Linkin Park meets Body Snatcher. Damn, that's actually a great way to describe Throne. Holy crap. THROWN, Throne. Like you got thrown, biatch, not I'm sitting on my throne. Linkin Park meets Body Snatcher. Yeah, 20 minutes. It's just one 20-minute long breakdown. It's really good. Being as an Ocean is another band that has been around a long time. Shut up, car. Being as an Ocean has been around for a while. They came up in the wave of like melodic, emotional hardcore with spoken word, poetic lyrics, with spiritual like Christianity themes. They put out an album called Death Can Wait. Death Can Wait came out, and it blew my mind because I was like, holy crap, they're kind of back. They brought back the heaviness and the spoken word and spiritual, kind of lyrics. Kublai Khan put out a really good album this year too. It's Kublai Khan. Beefy, heavy, chunky, mosh pit music. It goes hard. It goes hard. Go see them. Exhibition of Prowess. Good old Texas boys, cowboy hardcore, basically. I mean, it's ignorant. It's heavy. Alpha Wolf, they put out Half Living Things this year. They're worth listening to and going to see. I saw them perform most of that album towards the beginning of this year. They had their Half Living Things headliner tour. I saw them with Emir. They go hard live. The home team, shout out Brian Butcher. They put out The Crucible of Life. That was a great album. I didn't go back to it enough, but I mean, that dude has pipes. Brian Butcher, he filled in for vocals for Issues on their last few shows, and I was really jealous of anybody who got to go see those Issues shows, and he sounded great singing all those songs. Anyways, go check out the home team. Four in Hands is a hardcore band that put out an album this year called What's Left Unsaid. Great band, great live band. I saw them open for Counterparts back in 2022, and they were the opening first band, and the whole floor was a pit within like the first 10 seconds of the song. It was brutal. The story so far, I Want to Disappear. The story so far is like probably my top 3 favorite pop punk band. Great album, worth listening to. And those are my honorable mentions. These are all bands that deserve love and success, and those are albums worth checking out. And with that being said, here is my top 10 best albums of 2024. We have, at number 10, The Plot in You, Volume 3. So, The Plot in You is a band that I've been listening to for, a long, long time. I've seen them a lot of times. Landon Tours is a huge inspiration of mine. He's one of the greatest songwriters of all time, in my opinion. I'm not even blowing smoke up his ass. He's one of the best. Love him. For the last year or so, they've been putting out these 3-song EPs that I feel like are part of a bigger album, and I think it's really genius how they're releasing these singles as standalone. That way, each song that they put out gets a fair amount of love without being lost in the mix of a 12, 13, 14, 15 song album. So like we're not getting any deep cuts here. We're getting like single EP, single EP, single EP. I just think that's a genius way to market your music. Not only is Landon a great writer, but he's also just a genius when it comes to releasing music, especially with his solo stuff as well. But yeah, The Plot in You, Volume 3. The best song on there was Spare Me. Check it out. Number 9, I want to talk about Clancy by the legendary 21 Pilots. I've been listening to them since high school. Fell off of listening to them for years. The last time that I was really into them was Blurry Face. But for some reason, this album, man, feels like it's like a return to that. The whole like lore world building aspect of the band is back. This album is an absolute banger from start to finish. The songwriting from Tyler Joseph here is some of the best that he's ever done. To me, it just feels more authentic, like he's being his true self. And just goes to show that even at their age, I think they're in their mid-30s, just showing like, hey, we still got it. And they do. They still have it. To me, it feels like this album feels more independent. It feels like they're an independent band. I don't think they are. I think they're still with Fueled by Ramen, but I feel like they have a lot more control over what they're releasing. Great album. It's awesome. I love Clancy. All the introspective lyrics of loneliness and existentialism and anxiety. I also just love the fictional world of Trench. I mean, make it a movie. Make it a whole movie. Which they kind of did with their music videos. They released a music video for every song off the album. Overcompensate released, and I was like, oh man, this is a classic. And it's one of my most listened to songs of the year. So if you haven't listened to Clancy by 21 Pilots, if you like 21 Pilots, if you like the old 21 Pilots, you're going to love this album. It takes everything that they had done and just kind of like made it into like a masterpiece. I love the whole aesthetic of the new album. I love. I didn't get to see their tour, but the production on their Clancy tour looked insane. But Clancy, if you can't see, I am Clancy. Prodigal son done running. Come up with Josh Dunn, wanted dead or alive. Anyways, you get the point. It's good. It's good. Check it out. At number 8, we have 156 Silence, the album People Watching. Damn. Okay, so this is a band that I've heard about for a couple years now. Seemingly came out of nowhere for me this year. Like I'd seen their name talked about, but this year, they said, "Hey, you're gonna know about us. You're gonna know. The whole world's gonna know our name this year." So they put out an album with this creepy ass face. 156 Silence put out an album cover with the most, like, the creepiest, most haunting face that I've ever seen. And I was immediately like, I need to listen to that. You know, as a visual artist like myself, I am drawn to creepy imagery. I love scary art. I'm, I'm drawn to what makes an artist produce something that haunting. So naturally, I had to listen to it. The face on this cover, man. I know I'm just talking about the album art, but damn, that's like half the battle when you're a band and you have a badass piece of music. You want to make sure that the album cover accurately represents the sound of the music, and they very much did that here. When I look at that album cover, I'm like, dang, I'm about to die. I am being watched. Like, people are watching, you know? It's like, you're never alone. Like, that's the vibe I get. It's like, you think you're alone, but you're not. And so when I listen to that, I get all those vibes. It's creepy, it's haunting, it makes me feel like I'm on the set of Sinister. So, I mean, they captured the atmosphere perfectly in this album. Even the first few seconds of the album tells you all you need to know. It starts off with a lady creepily saying, "It's strange to have made something that hates you," and then goes straight into a da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na. So you know it's gonna be a heavy as fuck album. It is. It is. It doesn't take any breaks. There's a few smooth interludes that makes you feel like you're coasting through Silent Hill. Some of my other favorite songs from this album include Target Acquired, Better Written Villain, Blood Loss featuring Carson Pace of the band Callous Cowboys, shout out, Wants I Need featuring none other than Craig Owens, Funeral Arrangements, People Watching, Change Agent, such a badass song title, Terms and Conditions. It's just a good album. Go check it out. Hey, lucky number 7. Ooh, we got a doozy. So, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to by Knocked Loose. Knocked Loose is a band that I have known about since 2016, ever since they were playing the smallest stage at Warped Tour, but somehow managed to have the biggest crowd. They were by far the most hype band of Warped Tour. I've also seen them perform to a room of like 100 people. So for them to go from that to headlining all the time and playing Coachella and going on Jimmy Kimmel and having a Grammy nominated song. Suffocate! Anyways, dude, it's been great watching their rise in real time. I mean, it's nothing short of deserved. They've been at it for over 10 years. I mean, dude, what can you say? Knocked Loose is a special band. They're very, very beloved. I mean, obviously, they've got people who hate on them. What band does not have people who hate on them? The fact that they are so huge, even despite all the hate Brian gets for his vocals, it's just a testament to them. Like, you could do anything, and they did it. They freaking did it. They did it on their own. The fact that they're out there doing all these huge shows and they're still trying to keep it as DIY as possible, they are like inching towards legendary status. Touring as direct support on Slipknot's self-titled 25-year anniversary tour is just legendary as well. Like, I'm so proud of them. Everybody was talking about them. Everybody's excited for whatever the hell they were going to put out. Like, there was a lot of hype leading up to this album. When they first released Deep in the Willow and Everything Was Quiet Now, and it was like their heaviest, like most expensive sounding, like production quality to date, I was like, oh, this is the shit. This is where they're going. Can't wait for their next album. Blinding Faith came out. Oh, so good. We get an announcement for the album. We see that Poppy, none other than Poppy, is on the track list. I'm like, what is going on here? Is this their sellout moment? Are they selling out? Suffocate drops. Song just blew my mind. It feels like it's one of those songs that just kind of came out of nowhere. You know, they really did pull a switcheroo on us. They wanted us to think that they were going to sell out, and they absolutely did not. They reinforced that with a hammer with making probably their heaviest song to date, with a really famous breakdown with the reggaeton beat. That nobody could shut the fuck up about for a month. Everybody was covering it. It's just overall, it's just an amazing song. Poppy comes out, guns a-blazing, sounding more pissed off than ever. I've never heard her scream like this ever. She immediately made this one of like my top 5 Knock Loose songs. The band just continues to get heavier and heavier with no sign of compromising for a commercial sound in sight. Some of my favorite songs off this album are Thirst, Suffocate, Don't Reach For Me, Moss Covers All, Blinding Faith, and Sit and Mourn. So there's like a lot of songs about loss, grief, suffering. Overall, Brian sharing his distaste for Christians who do terrible things and expect it to go away just because they go to church on Sunday, which is what he talks about in Blinding Faith. But yeah, 10 out of 10 album. Go check it out. All right, number 6 on my list is the album Liminal by the band Belmont. So Belmont is not a band that I've known very long. They were not on my radar at all until this year. They just put out this album this year, and I wouldn't know about them if it wasn't for my friends Jacob and Danny. They're engaged. Congrats. So thanks to them, I got to check out Belmont. Also, real quick, shout out to both of them. They're really good friends of mine, and can't wait to see Belmont with you guys. Thank you for the tickets. Y'all are great friends. Thank you. The best way I can describe them is they're a party band. They are so fun to listen to. I've had SSX Trickmont stuck in my head for months. I can't get that chorus out of my head. They are a post-hardcore band. They're more pop punk, but they have breakdowns. They are very like techie. They have like really proggy parts, which is crazy to imagine pop punk blended with prog. Stay out, you're running back, you're inside. They have a bunch of experimental, like, electronic moments in their music. Overall, it's a blast. If you like fun, listen to Belmont. My favorite songs on the album are SSX Trickmont, Liminal, Day by Day, Dark Paradise, All Bite, Bend, Budge. Honestly, the whole album's a banger. Go check it out. At number 5 on my list, we have Artillery from Heaven, the album by the band Contention. Ooh, baby. This band is so badass. I've only known about him for a couple of months. Shout out Hardcore Keem. If it wasn't for your Try Not to Headbang Challenge video, I would not know about this badass band. Contention, Artillery from Heaven. It's so heavy. It is so early 2000s. It is so thrashy. It's got breakdowns out the ass, bro. It is so heavy. Only a 21-minute album. And it does not take a break. It is just from start to finish. It's one of those albums that you can just listen to 100 times because it's so short. And it's so raw. It's so emotional. The lyrics are so good. The snare, that's like one of the high parts of the album. That basketball sounding snare from the early 2000s. Yeah, that's the album. It's so raw. It's so heavy. It's so good. Contention, Artillery from Heaven. This band is gonna do things. Go check them out. If just for the love of heavy music in general, fuck with them. Check them out. Tell them See No Evil sent you. For number 4, we have Heaven Let Them Die by Counterparts. This was a surprise EP that was unleashed out of absolutely nowhere. It was a complete surprise. I wasn't expecting anything from Counterparts until next year. I knew that they were probably busy making something, but for them to just not announce it and just be like, here you go. Here you go. Have some breakdowns. Have some of the heaviest thing we've ever written, all nonchalantly and stuff. Just not a big deal. Just let me just drop the heaviest thing we've ever done out of nowhere. I've been a Counterparts fan since 2017, and they never cease to amaze me. This is by far the heaviest thing that they've ever released. To me, it kind of tops their last album in every way. And it just feels so good to hear them go that next level of heaviness. I hear that they are kind of dropping the whole sad boy I want to die thing, and they're just going full-fledged like end. Like they're going full balls to the wall. I'm so happy about it. But yeah, shout out Counterparts for your EP making it onto an album of the year list. That's how monumental this EP is. It's so good that I pre-ordered the vinyl for it without even having heard it. Like the second pre-orders went up, I said, click, bought. And yeah, I got this shirt with it too. You could see it in a previous video. But yeah, shout out Counterparts. Heaven Let Them Die. Number 4. Y'all are the best. I've seen y'all so many times. Hi, I'm Poppy. You guessed it. Number 3, Poppy. Her album, Negative Spaces. Now, Poppy is something else. She was like a internet phenomenon, YouTuber, weirdo. You know, there's lore. I could make a whole Poppy video, but not right now. Let's just talk about her new album, Negative Spaces. So, Over the last few years, she's been dabbling in rock and heavier sounds and stuff. But it wasn't until I heard her in Suffocate by Knocked Loose where I was like, oh, I want a whole album of her doing that. And that's exactly what we got with Negative Spaces. It is a phenomenal album from start to finish. And with Jordan Fish, who's formerly from Bring Me the Horizon, producing the album, there's no shortage of heavy songs on this album. Poppy wears her influences on her sleeves in this album. She's got everything from Slipknot to Kitty to Deftones to Bad Omens and Spirit Box to Bring Me the Horizon. Obviously there's hella Bring Me vibes in this album. Knocked Loose, obviously, because she collaborated with them. It's just a really solid album, and I don't care what anybody says, Poppy is welcome in the metal space, in my opinion. She's a metal fan, obviously, and she doesn't just stick to one genre. She makes like pop music and then rock music and then weird experimental stuff, and now she's making a full-on metal album. Longtime Poppy fans, don't worry. There's stuff for you on this album. If you like her bubblegum pop shit that she's known for, don't worry. Push Go literally sounds like a Madonna song. And Vital literally sounds like an Avril Lavigne song. And then you've got Crystallized, which is just a vibe. When I tell you she had one of the best breakdowns out of any of the hardcore metalcore bands that put out albums this year, this is the breakdown that sold me on Poppy's new album. There's a chance Poppy goes harder than your band. That's like a top 3 breakdown of 2024. Anyways, we're not doing a top breakdowns of 2024 video. We're doing a top albums of 2024 video. And that album is at number 3 for me. And at second place, we have none other than the third studio full-length album by the Connecticut born and raised hardcore / metalcore band Boundaries. Death is Little More. Death is Little More came out on my birthday. That was enough reason right there to call it album of the year. They're one of my favorite bands, and they didn't disappoint. I've been listening to them since Hartford County Misery came out in 2018, I think. I didn't really start listening to them again until I saw Matt, their vocalist, filling in for vocals for Varials. And then I was listening to My Body in Bloom, and then they released the singles for Your Receding Warmth, their first album. I was absolutely obsessed with this album. Your Receding Warmth got me through COVID. It got me through one of the darkest times in my life. And then their second album, Burying Brightness, sealed the deal for me. They are a top-tier metalcore band. To me, this band does what other bands try to do and fail miserably at, and that's be like relatable with their lyrics and try to like write songs for people who are going through a hard time in their life to like let people know that they're not alone. They do it in a way that's not gimmicky or makes it feel like it's inauthentic, because they genuinely have such emotional songs. The songs are so heavy. It's kind of easy to not really focus on the lyrics, rather like just listening to how heavy their breakdowns are, and or like, dang, I could really throw down in the pit to this song. They have such emotionally deep songs that are so relatable that'll make you sit there and go, damn, I've been there. So Boundaries is like, that's why they're one of my favorites. And this new album, Death is Little More, just proves that yet again they're not stopping. They are going to continue to do what they do best and get better. The first song on the album is called Turning Hate into Rage. And the first song on the album has this breakdown line. And that's all you really need to know about the new Boundaries album. It's just the best. It's the best thing they've ever done. It's the heaviest thing they've ever done. Yes, it's the heaviest thing they've ever done. Just listen to Scars on Assault or Petals from a Stem. Like Petals from a Stem. Death is Little More. Pale Light Lingers with Lockie from Alpha Wolf. Marcus Vick is on a song, Blame's Burden. He's the guy from Invent Animate. Inhale the Grief. Oh my God, this is another one of those songs that has like a really relatable message to it. And fucking goosebumps, right? I really didn't think they'd be able to top the last album, especially with the way it ended, especially with the way Burying Brightness ended with The Tower, has that whole like blast beat at the end of that song. It begins to speak and Your Own Murder and My Body is a Cage and Realize and Rebuild. It was really, I was like, are they even going to be able to top those songs? But, you know, they just continuously get better. It's all great music. Everything they've put out is great. I guess I can't really say one is better than the other because they're all just equally amazing. I can sit and listen to every single one of Boundaries songs and just like see that it's been like a gradual evolution for them. They started and now they're here, and every piece of the puzzle is what made them what they are now. So I mean, I can't wait to see them again, and I can't wait to see what they do next. When I saw them, I told Matt about, you know, what their music means to me. And bro just straight up pulled me in for a hug and was like, "You get it, man. Thank you. I do this for people like you." And it just reminds me of the lyric from Realize and Rebuild where he's like, "I make a mentor out of every man I meet." So, I mean, it just shows that they care about their fans. They really do. I hope that Boundaries blows the up, and I hope that you listen to Death is Little More. Sorry, going on a little bit of a tangent here. Let's get to number one. And my number one pick for album of the year, the best album of 2024, goes to Posthuman Next Gen by Bring Me the Horizon. This should come as no surprise to anybody who knows me. Posthuman Next Gen is a sequel to Posthuman Survival Horror, which came out in 2020. Posthuman Survival Horror and Posthuman Next Gen are part of a broader narrative that Oliver Sykes has been writing in his brain. He said that he's been establishing kind of a lore for this stuff probably since That's the Spirit, but it wasn't really cooking until Amo. Bring Me the Horizon has been my favorite band since I was 15 years old. They are a band that means everything to me. They are the reason that I love heavy metal and heavy music, alternative culture, punk rock, whatever you want to call it. I have seen Bring Me the Horizon 3 times. Bring Me the Horizon is a band that was there for me, basically. When I moved to where I am now, when I left my hometown when I was 15 years old, I didn't have any friends. But I knew somebody who listened to them, and listening to Bring Me the Horizon kind of made me feel at home. So I've been listening to them for over 10 years now, and, 20 years into their career, they put out one of their best albums. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not care for post-human next gen when it came out. I was expecting it to be way heavier because they parted ways with Jordan Fish. He was the guy who was making it all about him and Ollie. The rest of the band was kind of excluded from the writing process. He had been taking over the band at that point in time, and I felt he was the reason for all their poppier releases. Him leaving the band meant they were going to go back and be heavy as fuck. The album came out, and yes, there was some heavy parts. I was just expecting more. I was expecting way more. And, I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. Some months went by. I gave it another shot, and it's my album of the year. It's crazy how things can affect us differently at different times. It's the whole duality of man type of thing going on where you can listen to something and be like, yep, nope. And then next thing you know, oh man, I can't get enough. On Spotify, it said that I had a 10-day listening streak of that album. Like I just had it on repeat for 10 days straight. So how you can go from like not liking something to having something on repeat for 10 days straight is some psychotic shit. It's some psychotic shit, but what made it click for me was the lyrics. When I was listening to Oliver talk about how love is the law and his basically spiritual awakening, he had another overdose, and that's all over this album. And he, in an interview, was talking about how after he came out of rehab the first time, pre-Sempiternal, they were just riding and touring nonstop. And then as soon as COVID happened, he went straight back to what he was doing before. So he realized that music, writing, touring, none of it's going to be enough to shield you from what's inside. And he basically acknowledges that there's something more. It's just so profound and human of him, because he's just this guy who's been in this band for 20 years. He's, done it all in the grand scheme of rock stardom. Like he's been on top and he's been on the very bottom, and he's chosen to kind of step back and kind of analyze it and come to the realization that shit's not enough. That will never make you feel whole. And so I think there's a lot more themes having to do with his spirituality than usual on this album. It makes the album a much different listen. And one of the songs, there was a very controversial thing that happened with one of the new songs. There was a song featuring Spencer from Under Oath. And one of the lyrics is, if Jesus Christ returns, we'd just kill that twice. And people took it as, oh wow, how sacrilegious. These guys are going to hell. This man literally said he wants to kill Jesus for some clout. How dare he? They're really gonna pay for their sins with this one. This is when literally that's not what they were talking about at all. If you listen to the song, he's talking about as a society, how f***ed up we are, how quick we are to judge everybody, especially online, based off absolutely nothing. Like, oh, your shoes are brown, f*** you. Oh, you like cheese and mayonnaise sandwiches? I hope that someone shoots you and murders your family. Like, what's to stop people who act like that from feeling the same way about Jesus if he were to return today? They wouldn't know, and they probably wouldn't care. They would probably still attack him, and that's just the sad fact of it. Anyways, let me wrap this shit up. This was supposed to be a top 10 albums of 2024 video, not a freaking in-depth analysis of 10 albums from the year. I just need to do a video analyzing Bring Me the Horizon's last album. I just need to do a full next gen video. Anyways, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. I'll probably do it anyway because it's so interesting to me. I'm just going to name off a few songs that I think are great and what they stand for. So if I had to go with some favorite songs from this album, I would definitely pick Utopia, Kool-Aid, Top 10 Statues That Cried Blood, Limousine, Dark Side, A Bullet With My Name On, N.A., Amen, and Dig It. That's most of the album, but those are the ones that stick out the most to me. It's already a perfect album, but if I had to absolutely pick some songs to recommend to somebody who's never heard Bring Me the Horizon or wants to get into the album, those are the ones. Let's see. Of the more emo things that this album has to offer, the songs Dark Side, Strangers, and Die For You are like the emo bops, I guess. So if you like that stuff, you know, good old post-hardcore emo, screamo, whatever the fuck people call that shit in high school, those are the vibes. And then for like the heavy heavies, we've got Kool-Aid, Top 10 Statues, Limousine, Amen, and Dig It. Dig It has a heavy ass ending that has a cliffhanger that alludes to the next album. I'm not gonna do the homework for that, but if anybody wants to listen to this cryptic ass shit.
Hello, user. This is M8, your personal multidimensional.
That's very interesting, but that's for another video. I want to dive deep into that, but very interesting album, very fun, emotional roller coaster of an album. Hated it at first. Now it's my album of the year. It was between this and Death is Little More by Boundaries, and honestly, it was so tough, but I gotta give it to Bring Me the Horizon for being there for me all these years, being my favorite band, honestly, and I can't wait to see whatever they do next. So, post-human next gen, Bring Me the Horizon. And that should do it, folks. That's my top 10 albums of the year. This was fun. I've never done this before. I've always posted my lists on Facebook and stuff. So this was a fun video to make. It's my longest video. So if you have been there and you've been watching this whole time, if you're still here at the end of this video, you're my best friend and I love you, and I don't know what to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you have subscribed and you're watching this, thank you. Thank you so much for sticking around, checking out what I had to say. Even if you're not into this type of music, maybe, you know, hopefully you leave this video with some new music to check out. You know, I don't really have time to hang out with friends. I work a lot, so this is my outlet. This is my way to get my thoughts out there. So that's all it is. But yeah, if you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe and like. As you can see, I've upgraded. So higher quality videos are coming. But yeah, until next time, I'll see y'all in 2025, motherfuckers. It's gonna be a big year. I hope that everybody has a happy new year. I'll see you next time.